Trailed combines were still being made in 1970, but self-propelled models such as the Class Senator, first seen in 1968, gathered the harvest on most farms. A cab was available for the 1970 model on the Lely Victory combine. The driver on this New Holland 8050 combine was less fortunate. Class launched the first of a long line of Dominator models in 1970. But the end was in sight for Ransom's combines. The last Cavaliers and Crusaders were made in 1976. Axial flow combines arrived from America in 1979, and the man loses no time in singing their praises.
Combine of the future. That'll start paying off for you right now, as soon as your next harvest. That'll give you a far better return on your investments in crops and machinery than you've ever enjoyed before.
The International Harvester 935 combine was made in the late 1970s, but cabs were still an optional extra. By the mid-80s, combine cabs were standard. The class range included the Commander and the Dominator. And Massey Ferguson combines included the 530 and the 760. Massey Ferguson demonstrated their American-built 300 horsepower rotary combine to British farmers in 1987. A 22-foot table header was available, but in the UK the price was too high, and that was the end of it. Green, red and yellow combines dominated the market in the 90s. John Deere had their Z series with cutter bars up to 20 feet wide and a 270 horsepower engine. Massey Ferguson models, now built in Denmark, include the 34R and the 38, which was used to pioneer cereal crop yield mapping. Claas announced the Mega Combine with the accelerated pre-threshing system in 1993, when the price for a 20-foot cut machine was about £130,000. Improved separation and higher outputs are achieved by passing the crop through a pre-threshing cylinder before it reaches the main drum. Straw is a problem for farmers who don't keep livestock. A match was the simple answer, but that choice has gone. A straw chopper on a tractor or combine provides an alternative solution. Or there was a pickup baler which left single bales across the field. In the 1970s, various bale sledges were used to leave the bales in convenient heaps. Backache could be avoided by using a cook sledge and a bale gripper on a tractor loader. Alternatively, a bale thrower would load them onto the trailer, but of course the bales had to be unloaded by hand. Bales were left in a flat 8 formation by either a mechanical sledge or with a hydraulically operated brown juggler accumulator. And then collected with a buzzard loader which could stack bales up to 10 high. Some farmers were still using a random sledge, and they stacked the bales by hand for mechanical loading. When International Harvester stopped making balers in the early 1980s, the same models were produced by Vicon, who were also making big balers. Massey Ferguson announced the MF 2, 3 and 4 balers in 1985, and the flat 8 bale sledge was as popular as ever. Hand stacking bales was not the best of jobs. It was much easier to stack them with this 1975 vintage Lely Bale 8some system. Later called the Cube 8, this bale collector left convenient stacks of bales across the field ready to be transported to the stack. The bale packer also took the pain from bale handling. He formed packages of bales and then tied them with stout twine.
As soon as a bale is fed into the machine, it is slewed through 90 degrees, lifted inside 2 lines of heavy-duty polypropylene twine and held up by catches. When 4 bales are gathered, they are pushed back into the 2 loops of twine, and the next 4 bales are assembled. When 5 rows of 4 bales are assembled, knots are tied and the pack is free to slide onto the ground. The machine responds as soon as a bale enters it. It will accept bales up to a rate of 1 every 5 seconds. Bales will continue to feed in during a 90-degree turn. A ramp allows the pack to be deposited gently on the ground while the outfit is on the move.
When time allowed, the McConnell tail slave made light work of loading and stacking the packs of bales. The New Holland stack liner made handling single bales even easier.
This high-capacity model, the 1016, cuts dramatically the time needed to get bales off the field and into storage. All it takes is one man and one machine. An easy job. The machine picks up the bales and aligns them 2 by 2 on this first table, then moves them to a second loading table where tiers of 8 bales are formed and transferred onto the load rack. In total, 128 bales, or over 3 tons of hay, can be loaded and transported away from the field in a minimum of time.
And the farmer with money to burn could always buy himself a self-propelled stack liner.
Climb aboard and watch as this self-propelled Stack Cruiser Super 1049 makes short work of a row of bales. Easy as picking apples off a tree. You're in complete control all the way. Takes about 15 minutes to pick up a 5-ton load.
On arrival at the barn, the bales could also be mechanically unloaded and elevated onto the stack. Sales of big round balers were on the increase by 1975. The New Holland machine formed the bales with an endless chain and slat conveyor. And the endless belt bale chamber was used by John Deere. Both machines secured the bales with twine. Net wrap bales, made here by a Claas Roland baler, arrived on the scene in the mid-1980s. Massey Ferguson launched the 1455E round baler in 1985, but by this time many farmers had switched to a big square baler. The Vicon MP800 had 4 twine-tying knotters, and it didn't take long to load a trailer with these bales. The high-density Vicon HP1600 baler had wired twisters to secure 4 strands of wire around the bale. The Heston baler used 6 knotters to secure the 8x4x4 bales, and the MF5 square baler with 4 twine knotters required at least 90 horsepower of the tractor power takeoff. The 1995 Claas Quadrant ties 4 twines around the bale and can be made at any length between 2'6" and 7 feet 8 inches long. Most farmers harvested their own sugar beet in 1970. The era of the contractor was yet to come. Typical harvesters at the time included the Ranson's 33B tanker, Standard solo beet, now with 4 wheels. Earlier machines had a single front wheel. And the John Salmon Model 21 harvester. Some farmers preferred a 2-stage harvesting system with machines like this 3-row Zetor harvester, which collected the tops for cattle feed before the roots were lifted. self-propelled harvesters in the mid-1970s included the single-row Ransom's Power Beet, originally made by Catchpole. The two-row Ransom's Hunter with hydrostatic steering cost £12,000 when it was launched at the 1974 Smithfield Show. And the Koiken harvester lifted 4 rows at a time, but it put the roots back on the ground, so the job was only half done. By the mid-1980s, high-output harvesters, often operated by contractors, were common. Some were multi-road, two-stage machines. But the 6-row self-propelled harvester was stealing the scene. Not only do they top, lift and clean 6 rows at a time, but they'll also steer themselves along the road. Few would describe slurry spreading as their favourite job, but it was far worse in 1970. The slurry seemed to go everywhere, and the driver had no protection if he was working with the wind behind him. The McConnell Power Arm grab loader makes reasonable progress in filling the Teagle Titan manure spreader, claimed to be the largest spreader on the market. At a cost of £760, it held 7 tons. The web loader, with a 10 hundredweight grab, is filling a Vicon Buffalo spreader. The 6-ton farmhand spreader compared favourably with the Kemper, which doubled up as a self-emptying trailer. The Roland spreader could also be converted to a trailer when not required for spreading manure. Spreaders grew bigger as time passed, and the front-end loader became a maid-of-all-work. And when the spreader was full, this 1981 vintage 130 horsepower International 3388 tractor spread the manure in no time at all and got to work with the plough. And finally, in the next minute or so, let's take a spin through the past 50 years.